Rishus Yeshiva Shlita from Philadelphia. Rishus Chashva Rabbonim Koshkaman Adasa from here, Adasa Feldman, Kollel Chashva Abrechem and Kollel Ner. Just a few words of Chizuk. Didn't expect such a overwhelming oilam, such a tzibur to come out for this event, and such a warmth in the community towards the Kollel, which is really tremendous. The Kollel is here maybe a few weeks, a few months maybe. And like was mentioned before, there must have been a lot of background before the Kollel came in order that it should be able to be that way. Just thinking about the importance of a Kollel in a community. We find in the beginning of Vayechi, Rashi says, Vayechi lama pasha zu stuma. Why was this pasha stuma, without a pasha in between, without a separation before the other, a closed pasha, not open with it? It's not open like the other pashas that has a separation between the two pashas. The eyes and the hearts of Klal Yisrael were closed because of the shibud, sheyizchil shabdam, because of the future, because of the slavery of Mitzrayim. That Mitzrayim was going to make them work for them. And since Yaakov Avinu was nifta, their eyes and their hearts were closed. They were facing Shibud Mitzrayim. And then there's a famous kasha that in the beginning of Pasha Shmos it says, "Vayomas Yosef chol echa v'chol adarahu." Yosef and his brothers and the whole generation, which the Rishonim say is the 70 nefashos that came down to Mitzrayim, they all died. Vayomas Yosef chol echa v'chol adarahu says the Medrash that as long as one of the Shvatim was alive, so this Shibud did not start. The slavery did not start in Mitzrayim. It seems that even after Yaakov Avinu was nifta, still didn't start the slavery. And here Rashi tells us that after Yaakov Avinu was nifta, that's when the slavery started. Looks like an open contradiction. When did the slavery in Mitzrayim really start? Did it start when Yaakov Avinu passed away, or did it start when the Shvatim passed away? So we find a tremendous thing. Yaakov Avinu was afraid to go down to Mitzrayim. He was afraid. What was he afraid of? Pasuk alludes to what he was afraid of. And the Rebbe Shem tells them, Al tira me'ed Mitzrayim. The Rebbe Shem, the Pasuk does not bring that Yaakov Avinu was afraid. The Pasuk just brings that Hashem Yisbarach told him not to be afraid to go down to Mitzrayim. Al tira me'ed Mitzrayim. Ki legoy gavla simcha sham. You're going to become a great, big nation in Mitzrayim. Obviously, Yaakov Avinu was afraid that in Mitzrayim he cannot become a big nation. Why not? Obvious reason. They'll probably kill them. They'll do anything to prevent them from becoming a big nation. But I think it means more than that. When Hashem Yisbarach told Avraham Avinu, go to Eretz Yisrael and I'm going to make you for a great nation. A big nation. The Medrash says that Avraham Avinu asked Hashem, you're missing another big nation? You already have 70 nations. You didn't set up 70 nations, 70 big nations from Noach. Why are you telling me what do you need another big nation for? So the Medrash says Hashem told him, it doesn't mean a big nation. I say goy, there's a pasuk of Eschanan. The pasuk says, "Mi goy gadol." Who is this great nation? Ashalei lekim krayv melov. that nation will be from you. The exalted nation of Klal Yisrael will be from you. With what are they exalted? They're close to Hashem. They can speak to Hashem and Hashem answers them. They have a tremendous closeness to Hashem. But the Pasuk goes on to explain another Migoy Gadol. Umigoy Gadol, who else is a great nation like the Klal Yisrael, Shalei Chukim and Mishpatim Tzadikim, that has a Torah which is Chukim and Mishpatim, which is laws, which are righteous laws. Who else is a nation that has righteous laws? What does it mean, righteous laws? Probably a lot of nations have righteous laws. Probably a lot of constitutions are made up of pretty righteous laws. Says the Rambam, it means like this. A lot of nations have constitutions of righteous laws, but it doesn't do anything to the people. They have a Torah of righteous laws that makes them righteous, says the Rambam. He says you won't find the midah, you won't find the virtue of achzarius, ruthless, by Yidden, only by Goyim, because they don't have the Torah. By Yidden, that they are Zera Avraham Asher Shpi Aleim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tevis HaTorah. That the Rebbe Shalom bestowed them with the Torah of the Torah, Chukim Mishpatim Tzadikim Rachmanim Heim Alakol. This tremendous great nation that has Kivus Elokim, this tremendous great nation that has special midas. And if you look at those Psukim of Eschanun, how does this nation have it? Because they have the Torah. That's what gives them the Kivus Elokim, and that what makes them, gives them the midas. That nation will be for you. Big does not mean big. Big means great. The great nation of Klal Yisrael will be from you. Says Yaakov Avinu, maybe we'll become a nation in Mitzrayim. But how will we become the Gadol that our Kodesh Baruch Hu told Avraham Avinu, this great nation? How will this happen in Mitzrayim? With all the influences of Mitzrayim, impossible. How can it happen? We can grow, we can be a lot of people, but we won't be what we're supposed to be. That can't become in Mitzrayim. And that's what Yaakov was afraid of it. Yaakov Avinu was afraid of it. How is that possible? So the Rebbe Shalom tells him, don't be afraid. You're going to become that great nation in Mitzrayim too. Ki l'goy gadol l'simcha sham. There in Mitzrayim you will become a great nation. But the question is how? Yaakov Avinu had a big kasha. It's almost impossible to go into Mitzrayim, to be influenced by Mitzrayim, to go to Egypt and to still walk out such a tremendous exalted nation. How is that possible? Says Hashem Yisbarach Tim in the next pasuk, Anoichi eir dimcha Mitzrayim v'anoichi alcha gam aloi. I'm with you in Mitzrayim. I'm there with you. What it means to say is, we know that all the obvious, all the milas, all the tremendous virtues of Klal Yisrael that we have through the generations were all created by the obvious. The fact that we have a Beis Hamikdash in Klal Yisrael was started by Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu was the one that had the dream of Manorah Mokum Hazeh. Yaakov Avinu made a neder, made a promise. He's going to be put down the yesod, the foundation for a Beis Hamikdash. And what is a Beis Hamikdash? Yaakov Avinu is Knesset Yisrael, the Mikdash. Yaakov Avinu is Klal Yisrael. He has Yud Beis Shvatim. Yaakov Avinu in itself is like a Beis Hamikdash. Klal Yisrael in all generations has a Beis Hamikdash because they are a Beis Hamikdash. They don't have a Beis Hamikdash and that's why they are a Beis Hamikdash. It's because they are a Beis Hamikdash that they have a Beis Hamikdash. Sometimes it's begoli. It's seen without any hest upon him, without being hidden. It's Beis Hamikdash in Shalayim, we see the Asheras HaShechina. Sometimes it's with less. It's with Yom Shechar Beis Hamikdash. The day of the destruction of Beis Hamikdash, the Rebbe Shalom only has the Dalar Am Shel Halacha B'vad, and all the Mefarshim say that means that Klal Yisrael is still a Beis Hamikdash, so the fact that Klal Yisrael still has the Torah in them, it's not so open. But Klal Yisrael is a nation that has Asheras HaShechina in the Neshama. That's what Klal Yisrael is. Says the Rebbe Shalom, Anoichi Eredim Cha Mitzrayim. You're going to be the Gadol in Mitzrayim because I'm going to be with you in Mitzrayim. You're a Mishkan for Asheras HaShechina in Mitzrayim also. And Yaakov Avinu understood the message. And right away, there's Yehuda Sholach Lefon El Hoyres Lefon El Goyishna. He sent down Yehuda to prepare a Makom Torah in Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim will also have the Torah. At many periods of time, in the beginning, all of Klal Yisrael learned Torah. Shabbos, when they were working, when they were in slavery, they had Orchot Shabbos. and they used to learn the Megillas of the Torah that they yashin from the Ovis. Later, afterwards, after they couldn't learn Torah anymore, the Shevet Levi, which was they learned Torah, but Klal Yisrael always had the Torah with themselves. Anoichi Eidem Chamitzrayim, as long as you have the Torah, you're a Mishkan of Hasharas HaShechina. You're a Mishkan of Hasharas HaShechina. Over there, you're not in Mitzrayim. You're with Hashem. You have the Hashgacha Miuchedes of the Rebbeinu Shlomo. You're always with Hashem. And that's how the Rebbeinu Shlomo tells Yaakov Avinu, L'goy God l'simcha sham in Mitzrayim, you can also become this tremendous nation that you are. In Mitzrayim, you can also become this tremendous nation you are. And there's 3 levels to how this went. Balei Tosfos say that when Yosef sent down the wagons to bring Yaakov down to Mitzrayim, the wagons were some kind of a message. What was the message in the wagons? We all know what Rashi says, but the Daskedim says there were a remez to Yaakov Avinu because the Beis HaMikdash is carried in wagons in the Shesh Eglois Tzav. Yosef told him, you're going to go down to Mitzrayim with Hashem, with the Shechina, with Hashem Shechina, with Anochi Eidem Chamitzrayim. And that's when he was meramis to Matchil Ruach Yaakov Avinu. Then he knew that he can go down to Mitzrayim. And the Daskedim Balei Tosfos say even a bigger point. They say, if you look at the Psukim says, Chulachem Egles L'Tavchem L'Neshechem. Bring down wagons for your children and for your wives. U'nesosem es avichem, and carry your father down and come. As the Daskedim Balei Tosfos, the pasuk should say, Chulachem Egles L'Avichem L'Tavchem L'Neshechem. Yaakov Avinu was old, he had to be carried. Take an agola for Yaakov, take agola for the wives and for the children. Of course, they were the able men, they didn't need the wagons. And come down. How can the pasuk splits it up? Chulachem eglos and the sheichem and the tapchem, and the sasem savichem and bosem. Says that Askenim Balei Tosfos, and the sasem savichem al kisvayseichem and bosem. Carry your father on your shoulder, on your shoulders. Don't carry them on wagons. What's that? What's wrong with carrying him on the wagon? And the answer is simple. The Oren, there's halacha that you can't carry the Oren, even in the Beis HaMikdash, in the Midbar. You can't carry the Oren on wagons. The halacha is because if you sow, you have to carry them on your shoulders. Yaakov Avinu is like the Torah. It's the Oren. It's like the Yaakov Avinu is the Torah. If Yaakov Avinu comes down to Mitzrayim, then Yaakov Avinu, that we have a Beis HaMikdash with an Oren, with luchis, with all the miles of the Beis HaMikdash. And the Oren is because if you saw, you have to carry Yaakov Avinu on your shoulders. But then there's Bayis Sheni. Bayis Sheni didn't have an Oren. We still had a Beis HaMikdash, we still had a Hasharas HaShechina. It wasn't so big, it wasn't so open. It was missing, one of the 5 things that were missing in the Bayis Sheni was Hasharas HaShechina. There was some kind of level of Hasharas HaShechina, more than we have today. We still had a Beis HaMikdash. We didn't have to rely on Yom Shechor Beis HaMikdash in L'Kadosh Baruch Hu B'Lam Shaloch B'Lvad. But we still didn't have the Oren. We had a lesser level of Hasharas HaShechina. But we still had Hasharas HaShechina, Anochi Eidem Chamitzrayim. Kol Zman that Yaakov Avinu was Kayom. They weren't called Be'eretz, the pasuk says, Abba Yosef Be'eretz Heveyim. They were still like, they were living with the Mishkan, they were living with the Oren, they were living with the Shvatim, they were living with the Hasharas HaShechina, they were living with the Torah. There was no Havamina, they didn't even think of slavery. They didn't think that Mitzrayim couldn't touch them, couldn't do anything to them. As soon as Yaakov Avinu was nifter, it became like Bayis Sheni. We still had the Mishkan, we still had the Shvatim. We didn't have the Oren anymore. And the Mashal says in Megillah, that's already called Be'eretz Ovehem. When we don't have it, it's as if we already started the Golus, even though we were still in Eretz Yisrael. We knew that Rebbeinu had already told Avraham Avinu, that can be slavery in Mitzrayim. We saw it coming. Our eyes and our hearts were already closed from the tsar of the Shiva that's going to be coming. It didn't happen yet before, because we still had like the Bayis Sheni. We still had some level of Yidush Shechina. After the Shvatim and after, that was like the Chum Nabayis. But we still had Anochi Eidem Chamitzrayim. The Rebbeinu still came down with us Mitzrayim, because we still had the Beis HaMikdash. We still had the Mokum Yom Shechor Beis HaMikdash. We still had the Beis Talmud, which Yehuda was Yehuda Shalach Lahayis Lafanim Geishna. We still had Mokaimas HaTorah. We still had people learning Torah. So we still had Anochi Eidem Chamitzraymo, V'Anochi Alcha Gamaloi. We still had the Asher Hashchina with us. And that's how Yankov goes through. That's what Klal Yisrael goes through Mitzrayim. Klal Yisrael cannot exist in Golus without Anochi Eidem Chamitzraymo, V'Anochi Alcha Gamaloi. The Gemara says that if not, the Gemara says, how could one nation exist between 70 nations, like a sheep between 70 wolves? How is it possible for the Klal Yisrael to exist? It's a double question. The question is, how is it possible for Klal Yisrael to exist when you go through all these nations that are ready to eat us up alive, to tear Klal Yisrael apart, like they tried, the Russians, the Germans, the Nazis, and through history many, many more. They tried to kill out Klal Yisrael, try to wipe us off the map, and still trying. Ishmaelim and others, maybe too, accomplices. And then there's another question. Sometimes we're in a place where there's tremendous influence of the world. There's an influence of the world. How could we become a godly in such a place of such influences? How don't we get assimilated? And how don't we get lost? How don't we become part of the cultures around us? How's that possible? One shepsela between 70 wolves. They're trying to influence. There's an Achi, there's an Esav. They're trying to influence us. They're trying to rip out any differences between us and them. Any mila, any virtue any exaltedness that we have, that they don't have, they're trying to ruin that. How's that possible? So the Gemara says, there's a midah called Noira. Noira is the midah which means the Gilu Shechina. There's Gilu Shechina in the Beis HaMikdash, and B'yom Shechar Beis HaMikdash, there's Gilu Shechina in Klal Yisrael. The Rebbeinu Shalom is Anochi Eidem Chamitzrayim. The Rebbeinu Shalom is always with us. As long as we have the Torah with us, the Rebbeinu Shalom is with us. If a Yid could be sitting in Siberia and bleiben ehrlich Yid, or in the wastelands of America and stay some kind of ehrlich Yid, or come out after the rebuilding of the ashes, after what we went through in the Holocaust, and rebuild to such a Blair and horror, so much Torah, so much Yiddishkeit. It's only because we're always at all points of history. We're always Anochi Eidem Chamitzrayim. The Rebbeinu Shalom is always with us. Why? Because we always have the Torah. Any place that has the Torah in it, Yiddishkeit is vibrant. Yiddishkeit grows. There's youth. There's growth. There's chiyus. There's life. It's a fact. You can go through any city in America that has a kollel. It's rejuvenated. It brings life to the community. It brings life to the community. The Ritbaz, Rabbi Malkiel, he was the Rav of Slutsk. He was the founder of the Lakewood Yeshiva. The forerunner of the Lakewood Yeshiva was the Kletzke Yeshiva. We were just there. I was there with my brother Byron. We were in Slutsk also. The yeshiva started in Slutsk before that. He was the Rav in Slutsk, and he brought the yeshiva to Slutsk. He left Slutsk and he became the Rav of Chicago. He became the Rav of Chicago in the turn of the 19th century. He became the Rav of Chicago. Or the beginning of the 19th century, I don't know what year exactly. And then he had to run away from Chicago. Embarrassing to say, he ran away because he was threatened with his life. He was threatened with his life because he had a lot of wars to fight, and one of the wars that he was fighting was about the kashrus, about the butchers, about the shachtim union. And they threatened him that they'll take care of him like they take care of other things. True, that's what they threatened him. And I think I heard that he ran away on Shabbos, Friday night. He ran away on Shabbos. And then he went to Tzfas, he became a Rav in Tzfas. And in Tzfas he wrote a sefer on Chumash, called Nebuchei Harid Baz. And he writes into the introduction to the Sefer, he writes about the matzav of Yiddishkeit in Chicago and in all of the United States. And it doesn't paint a colorful picture about the Shabbos, the kashrus, and everything else. And he says that there's absolutely no hope for America. There's no hope for America. And then he says, but I have an idea. Have one idea that will maybe turn America around. He says, if I would have stayed there, and they would have sent me 10 Bachrim from Europe I would have locked myself up in a room and learned with them Torah, that would have turned over America. That's right. That would have turned over America. Hard to understand. Up against so much assimilation, so much empathy, everything that was going on then. 10 Bochum, what are they going to do for America? And he understood that that will bring the Anochi Eidem Chametzainu. And then everything will just go uphill. Then I'll be able to turn it around. Keine de Igris de Ihul Havi Pavanke, you know, the saying was going, that Moshe Rabbeinu told Pinchas, you're the one that wrote the letter, you do it. He was the one that was the Miyasid of Lakewood, the forerunner of Slutsk, Lakewood. He was the one that through him, it happened. It became Lakewood as well, one of the yeshivas that brought Torah to America, and that turned America around. Every community that has in the community Torah is unbelievable, the chiyus that comes into the community. The Noichi Edem Chamsayim, the Rebbe Shalom's dear. If we want to bring up a generation of children that are going to be the Goy Gadol, they're going to be special. They're going to be different than the children of other nationalities, and especially even of our nationality, of other places, that they get lost to Yiddishkeit. We have the same worry that Yaakov Avinu had. How is that possible in the United States? Or anywhere? How is it possible in a city like Atlanta? Baruch Hashem, you come to such a city. Shem Yeshiva. Kinderlach, you see, I was telling the Yeshiva before. If you close your eyes and tell them that these Bochum are learning in Lakewood in some Yeshiva, some Sifta there, some Shivtana there, we couldn't tell the difference. There's such a community of people, Oyevei Torah, such an outpouring warmth for Torah, for Kollel, for yeshivas. In a short time, there have 40 people come to learn in the Kollel. It's not the biggest community in the world, even though I heard that it has 125,000 Eden, but they're not the community. There's a background, the first Kollel. This is all the Noichi Eidem Chametzainu. This is what gives the chiyus and the life to a city like Atlanta. This is what's going to rejuvenate Yiddishkeit. And it is already rejuvenating Yiddishkeit. This is how come we see such Ahavas HaTorah, so many Balabatim that have a passion, that understand, that are willing, that they feel. You see the simcha on their faces, that there's more Torah, more Yinelite. There's Avrechem, there's Yinelite. There's Baruch Hashem Kollel B'Torah, which was in Lakers for many years, and we had a big connection in Stam. Besides the connection we had, we spoke a lot in learning. Emes Kollel B'Torah, with Choshev Yiglait. This is Anochi Eidem Chametzainu. The Rebbe Shalom is here with us, and this is what will bring all the bracha to the community. This is the vision of the Rabbanim from this town. This is the vision of the Balabatim of the town. And Asheichem that you were Zeicher to be maimed such a tremendous Gewaldige Makom Torah. And the Rebbe should help, that we should all be Zeicher to see the payers, the fruit of the Anochi Eidem Chametzainu, that the Rebbe is here with us in Atlanta. And be Zeicher ultimately to Anochi Al Chagam Aloi with Be'ez Gel Tzedek Meir Yemei.